This Spotlight episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to support the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/bossrushnetwork. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Boss Rush Spotlight Podcast, where we highlight some of our favorite creators, developers, and other veterans from the video game industry. Wow. I am one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me for this Spotlight is the mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Corey.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this guest.
I'm wicked excited.
I about jumped out of my seat when you said, "Hey, who wants to interview Aaron Grubb?" And I was like, me. I guess I just spoiled our guest. But
way to go.
I can't say enough good things about Aaron's music. It is very just relaxing and gets me through a lot of my day. And I'll just bring him in now. Musician Aaron Grubb is here joining us. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Corey.
How are things? How are you?
I am good. It's summertime, so my kids are out of school, which means I am not in the office as often. So whenever that happens, I'm a little bit anxious that I'm not getting anything done. So, that's how I'm feeling. And summer is supposed to be relaxing, but it's been really busy. So, yeah.
Things have been really ramping up for me as well. I just don't get it. I thought summer was supposed to be relaxation. Maybe for the kids, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who may not know who you are, Aaron, who are you? Why are you important?
Why are you here, man?
Yeah. Why are you invading our podcast?
Well, over the last 4 years or so, I have been putting out more and more music, and I'm actually about to hit 100 produced songs, but not all of them are on Spotify per se. But yeah, once you network with a lot of people that own playlists and make friends with people across the social media, and you start your name starts to be known. So so over the last 4 years, I have built that up until people like yourself ask me to be on a podcast, which is pretty awesome.
Right. You are known for your own original work, but probably in our sphere, you're most known for your Legend of Zelda covers.
Yes, thank you for bringing it back around to the question at hand. I tend to go off on rabbit trails, so feel free to reorient me. But so what I do is I take video game music, and sometimes I stay faithful to the original feel of the song, but most of the time I either make it epic, or more often than not, I make it like slower, relaxing, cinematic, that kind of thing. But I'm also, every maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I might put out an original song as well. So yeah, I'm trying to do that more, but it doesn't make money the same way as known music, I should say, is, because I've I do some pop piano. I call it pop piano covers, but they're actually more cinematic as well.
Oh, sweet. Well, you know what? You can leverage the Legend of Zelda or kind of known franchises to kind of maybe boost fans over to original content, or that's the hope, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's the strategy. Because like January, February of 2020, I put out an original song, a piano cover of a pop song, and maybe a couple. I don't remember when I put those out, but then I also did a Legend of Zelda song, Gerudo Valley. My first version, I did 2 versions. If people out there don't know that, um, but after I like tried to contact some playlists, some people with playlists about adding my songs to their playlists, I was getting like 1 or 2 streams from my original song, which was like, that's nothing, right? And a few more, from the pop cover, and then just so many more from Gerudo Valley. I was just like, well, I've always wanted to do some Zelda covers, and I just gave it a shot, and it's working. So let's keep going.
And what a song to cover to kick that off. That's a iconic title.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, that was one of my favorites. Definitely one of the most recognizable ones. But yeah, so.
Well, speaking of favorites, Corey, I hope you like this idea. Maybe it's not, but I put in some icebreaker questions, and I wanted to kind of fire them off. Before we talk actual shop.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. I do have one thing for Aaron though. Like, so you've been pretty popular in our sphere for quite a while now, but I actually didn't find you through the Bosphorus Circle. I found you because I was so you're a musician. You probably know who Lindsay Sterling is.
Oh yeah.
She has like a whole, there's like this whole playlist of her music that is dedicated to video game music. And I was listening to her Zelda one, and you were just a recommended
nice
music. Hey, you like this? You should listen to this. I'm like, okay, well, I like Zelda, and that's how I found you. And so that was kind of like, oh man, that's cool. That's so cool that like now that you're here. But I'm gonna stop fangirling out a little bit. We should we should do these icebreaker questions.
No, I think that's great. Cool. I mean, I'm probably half brain dead, or else I would probably having the same fangirling moment, because I listen to Zelda music when I work for concentration. Nice. Usually I'll just type in Wind Waker OST, just whatever I'm kind of in the mood for, because various Zelda games do have, a type of theme or music or type or whatever, like remixes of the same thing. And then, once you get that algorithm, you also get covers. Like I know there's the Zelda and Chill, for example. Yep. And then I believe I stumbled upon Gerudo Valley. I can't recall if it was which version that was. So your name, I had seen it, and then when I don't know if it was Celeste in the 1v1 or the community was talking about it, I'm like, wait, I saw that name before. It's a small world.
Yeah. And I love it when YouTube accurately recommends songs for people, or I don't know, sometimes Spotify does as well, but it looks like YouTube's doing a pretty good job.
Accurately is the key word.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, a broken clock is right twice a day. Am I right?
So, that's true.
Yeah. Gosh, I love that. I'm going to be using that phrase.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I use that when people make me angry, but then they do something right. So, speaking of doing something right, these icebreaker questions. So, Stephanie, do you want to kick it off, Stephanie?
Sure. Well, you cover Legend of Zelda, but what's your favorite video? Do you have a favorite video game or favorite franchise? And is it Zelda?
I don't know that I have a favorite video game franchise, but I don't know, maybe throughout my life I might have had a favorite, at a given year or whatever. But I don't know. Once Breath of the Wild came out, like that was all I was playing for a couple years, I think. And anything else that I happened to play, like Portal 1, Portal 2, I decided to beat those recently. They were just, I mean, I always wanted to, because my kids always kept on bugging me about it, and I liked the concept, and it was fun. So, and that has interesting music as well. But, maybe when I was about 19 to 25 maybe. Halo was pretty big for me. I that's all I wanted to play for a long time. But yeah, I don't think I really have a favorite video game. I don't know, like Mario, like original Mario, like has like nostalgic like importance
Mm-hmm.
to my background, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like all these games together is just
Right.
like I like them a lot. So
I heard a lot of amazing things about Portal. I think
yeah.
those two games are just ones that I happen to miss out on, and I forgot when it showed up on one of the showcases or something last year or two. I
Mm.
don't know if it was like an anniversary edition or a bundle or something, and I'm like, I got to
Yes.
put this on my wish list.
Yep, that's what I did. And then they were on sale less than a year ago. I can't remember what it was,
Mm,
and it was super cheap, so I just bought
yeah.
them together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hard to
yeah.
turn that down.
hmm
Yeah, really.
But as far as favorite games go, Skyward Sword's not my favorite, but like there's just something about the music in that
Mm-hmm.
it kind of feels like it's my favorite in a way, just because it's such amazing music. Same
Wasn't
thing
that
with
the
Wind Waker, but yeah,
first time that The Legend of Zelda used live orchestrated music was
I
Skyward
think
Sword?
so. I think so. It
Because
sounds right.
that's where Symphony of the Goddess came from, and I
hmm
attended Symphony of the Goddess twice. I love that concert, and since you mentioned Wind Waker, can I just tell you one of my favorite Zelda songs, so to speak, is actually just a lot of the credits. So the Wind
Oh
Waker
yeah.
credits, I love it. I actually, because I sometimes have to work two jobs, and the second job I get out of work at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I have
Oh
to hear
yikes.
loud, not great quality music all night. The way I decompress is kind of more, I don't know, it just video game soundtracks. I also listen to Baldur's Gate 3 soundtrack too.
Oh yeah.
But I always play the Wind Waker staff credits. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
songs or
Yeah, I think you're
tracks.
right. A lot of those staff credits are, I mean, oftentimes they're medleys, but so I mean it gives you a lot together.
Mhm.
But a lot of the like medley and or trailer music or whatever it was that I liked the most was from Twilight Princess, I think.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think one of my absolute favorite parts was within I think it was what I just said, the like a trailer or something, but it's like on the soundtrack. Like if you look at the official soundtrack, I think it's on there.
Mhm.
It's beautiful, yeah. And I think that sounds orchestrated too, but that might have just been
Yeah.
for the trailer, not the whole game.
I
Okay.
think the HD version they orchestrated the music for the Wii
Okay,
U version,
okay,
but the GameCube and the Wii version I know were not.
Mm.
okay. Yeah, I can't
Um,
remember if we have. No, I think we have the Wii U version, but I know we have the GameCube version,
mhm.
which is really confusing since they're backwards
Oh,
or
yeah,
mirror
like the
images.
mirror. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I haven't
actually, the
played it.
hard
Sorry.
the hard mode on Twilight Princess is the GameCube version.
Oh,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
so if you want a challenge, yeah.
uh, yeah, I
Well,
haven't I
I'm
haven't played it yet, but I've watched my wife play like 5 times, so I'm very
Fun.
familiar with the game. It's like number one on my list. To well, I'm halfway through Skyward Sword HD, so maybe I should finish that first.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Twilight Princess is my favorite Zelda game of all
Mhm.
time,
I keep
and
hearing that.
your Midna's theme, Midna's Lament is
Mm.
like
Mm.
probably it's my favorite song on that entire or my favorite track on that entire soundtrack, and um I don't know, it always gets to me that I don't know the way that game ends, and I don't know. We could have a whole conversation about the ending of Twilight Princess and probably go for 3 hours, but I really love Twilight Princess, and I really love your version of Midna's Lament. It's very very calming and soothing. It actually it reminds me of so I play spoilers everybody. I play a lot of Destiny, and
Sorry.
when Beyond Light came out, there is a there's a track on that soundtrack called Deep Stone Lullaby, and it kind of reminds me of Midna's Lament in a way. And like as I was talking to you, like, or as you know, we were having this discussion like 5 minutes ago, I was like, man, if he ever did a Deep Stone Lullaby cover, I would cry. I think I would cry.
I'm writing it down now.
Yes.
Deep Stone Lullaby, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
Corey, tell him when your birthday is. I'm just kidding.
Man, I love that. It's I don't know. It's
He's
so
getting goosebumps. I can tell.
I am, because like, I mean, the song is great in and of itself, but like you only hear it one time, and not everybody gets to hear it because it's part of the raid. But like, you hear it when you're up in this space station, and you're outside of the space station, and you're just running along the side of this space station. You can't hear anything else. You can't hear footsteps. You can't hear any weapon fire or anything. You just hear this song, and you just see, like, you round this corner, and you just see Earth, like, from this space station, and it's just like this really cool moment. But
I'm telling you, music really can help make a game. I mean, I'm sure other people can argue against it, but for me, that's a huge factor. Sorry to bring back Baldur's Gate again, only because I actually held off on playing Baldur's Gate 3 because I'm not going to play what everyone's playing because I don't know, I'm stubborn like that. But eventually I got it. And there's like, I finally reached the climax where the title's called Gather Your Allies, and you go through this gauntlet, and whoever you had a positive influence and didn't die by the end of the game, they'll be there, and you speak to them, and they can all join you in your final battle. And oh man, the music for that track Gather Your Allies is just, if I ever want to feel motivated to do something, I just pop that Bad Larry on. It really makes an experience for sure. But
Nice.
speaking of really, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. I've listened through some of the Baldur's Gate soundtracks because I was scouring all the soundtracks for maybe some ideas for compilations of just VGM music in general. But yeah, I really liked some of that music. Some good soundtracks.
Yes.
Nice.
I think I Want to Live and The Power. Those are two main big songs in there. And they have like instrumental, orchestral, or something like they have different versions of it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely multiple versions of Destiny tracks to fit whatever you're doing in the game, obviously, because like it's a big action shoot 'em up type, whatever. Man, I'm looking through. I guess I didn't realize how much music you had. I'm just like, I add songs to my playlist, and I probably have like 25 songs of yours on my playlist, but I'm just like scrolling down this list, and I'm like, dang, there are so many.
Yeah, technically, I have 61 video game covers on Spotify at the moment. Coming up on 62. Sorry, you were going to ask a question?
I was going to let you finish before I asked, because I have a question about the music itself.
Sure. Oh, that was about all I had to say. I was just gonna speak on the how many songs I have on there.
Yeah, that's so is this like do you just kind of do this for, I mean, not, you don't do it for fun, but like, do you actually have to like,
I know,
do you ask these companies for permission to use the songs, or you just kind of like, do it and hope?
I know what
you're. The process of
yeah.
Covers.
No, I know exactly what you mean, Corey. People that aren't in the thick of it, and as far as music and other things that require licensing, don't know where to start there, because I mean, it's like nobody sees it, right? So, so So okay, where do I start? So basically, before I do anything with my distributor, I uh, I go to a licensing company. Like there's Easy Song Licensing, Affordable Song Licensing. There's a whole bunch of other ones, but those are the two I've worked with. And I just fill out a form, say like who the composer is or songwriters or whatever, what the song is, and then they get back to me on and then I have to pay for it. Um, so oftentimes it's like $15 or something, or $10 to $15 for a song.
Mhm,
So you can kind of imagine what it's like to pay for a whole album of music. It can be expensive.
mhm,
um, uh, but they do the hard work most of the time. Sometimes they're like, "Well, I don't see what you're talking about," and then I have to go dig and find it for them, which is annoying. I feel like they should be doing that, but um, I don't know. I don't want to give them a bad name either because they honestly, I don't think they get paid that much. So maybe it should be part of my work. I don't know. But anyway, so um, they're okay. I'm really like trying to find the like where I should start with that, but let's just say it's that simple. You go to you go to a licensing company, you ask them for that, and they'll contact the company for you, get you a license, and
mhm,
then
mhm.
when you go through your distributor, then you just put in the license ID or whatever you get from them, and then you're done.
Right. That's like the framework of
Yes. So
process.
I
Yeah.
mean, it can get a lot more complex than that,
Right.
um, especially in my
Mhm,
case, I guess. But um, all in all, it's pretty simple most of the time.
That's just something I've always wondered, especially for musicians or people who do other types of that area of content online, because especially Nintendo is like notorious
Oh yeah,
for asking people to take stuff down.
mhm,
yeah,
Asking, we'll say nicely, because
yeah, yeah. So through I can't remember which law it is, but I mean there was a bill or something. Is that like a Music Modernization Act or something? I can't remember which one it was, but basically, and this might have been built upon laws from a long time ago. I'm not sure how long it's been around, but basically, if it has been recorded on a physical medium in this country, it doesn't matter if it was in Canada, like that won't, you can't do that. It
Mhm.
has to have been recorded on a physical media in this country. Um, if it has, then you can cover it basically without asking. You just do it as long as you are sending the amount of royalties that are supposed to be sent to that um, label or individual or whatever.
mhm,
Then you're in the clear. And you have the, I don't know, proof of licensing or whatever. I don't know.
mhm. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I could
Well, to
talk
kind of
about that for quite a while.
yeah.
It just wouldn't be a very fun show.
Well, why don't we dial it back a little bit to kind of your origins? Because, I always like a good origin story. I checked your blog out. It said you've been making music since 2020. Other than obviously this clearly is a passion for you, but what was the catalyst to jumpstarting your career?
Well, that's complicated too. But let's just say that when I was like five or so, I just listened to music on the radio, like in the car or whatever, and be like, man, I really want to like play the piano or like
Mm,
uh, the guitar, or I don't think I was thinking of the guitar at that point, but like the saxophone or something like that. And I'd be like, hey, mom, dad, I want to play whatever. But the piano was really spoke to me. So I was like, kept on bugging them
mhm,
until like they found this cheap piano that somebody they knew had. Um, and we got that. And then they forced my brothers to play too, and they were not happy about that.
Mhm.
we actually have pictures of them like with their shirt over their head, like, you know.
It's like, thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm obviously the only one that kept going with that, but so anyway, so that started it, and then I just continued playing piano up through high school, I guess, and then I taught myself guitar and some other stuff. And oh yeah, in 7th grade I did play the saxophone.
Nice.
Nice.
I thought it was cool.
But
well,
no, I mean, it's coming back.
Yeah,
but,
the trending that trending meme is making the saxophone cool again. So
oh man.
but I gotta quickly say, the piano's an amazing instrument. I don't have many regrets in my life, but I do have one. And my mom really wanted me to play the piano, and I was so against it. I don't know why. It's not like I didn't like music. I just didn't want to learn it. I wanted to play if anything, I would play the drums. I want to be cool, whatever. Which I did purchase a set of drums when I was a bit older and self-taught for a little bit, but I really wish I had just let my mom make me play the piano. She's made me do lots of other things. I don't know how I got away with that, but I wish I could have played the piano. And bonus, you know what else I really wish I could play is the violin.
Oh yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
people play the electric violin. I'm like, holy cow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to play the cello. And now it's like one of my favorite instruments, but for anybody listening, I mean, that's wondering if they should play the piano or not, you should absolutely play the piano, even if that's not your end goal. Just learning, like, I mean, I can pan my camera down, but like how linear, these are the same. This is C. It's like all in a line. So even if you're playing the guitar, like when I'm playing the guitar, I like if people have ever watched me like try to figure something out on the guitar, I'm going like, okay, okay, yeah, I see how that chord works there, because I'm envisioning the piano keyboard in my head, and it helps me figure out like, oh, I want to add a certain note to it or whatever.
Seems like it's a good overall foundation for music.
A foundation is a good word for it. Yeah. I mean, and in understanding music theory in general, as much as you can understand music theory, I think it's a super good way to visualize it. Like, I don't know any other way that would be good to visualize it.
Yeah, I always wanted to learn how to play the piano, and I was actually preparing to take lessons because my cousin was taking lessons, and I was going to take the lessons from her piano teacher, and her sorry, this is going to get dark for a second. Her piano teacher died like suddenly, and then like we never followed up with trying to find someone else to teach anybody, and that was always something that I was like really bummed about too. And like I thought about my wife's mom as a piano teacher, and like I've thought about it probably 100 times of asking her to teach me how to play piano, but I don't know if I really want
the mother-in-law dynamic complicates things.
It's it would be a interesting kind of experiment, I guess. We'll film it, we'll make content out of it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if she taught you at your house, or you just practiced at your house, I think all your kids would be inspired to play, probably.
Yeah, I think my daughter is 6, and I think we're going to start her at some point. She shows interest every time we go over there. I mean, yeah, they're kids, they bang on the keys, but like she'll actually sit down and like look at it, and like she won't be like, like just slamming on the keys. She'll just actually like use her fingers, because she sees, because she goes to the recitals and everything that her mom's students have, and she'll like pretend that she's playing like with her fingers, and it's really, it's cute, and I think she's interested because she's very artistically inclined. She always is trying to do something creative or something like that, and she's also very into music, and that seems like a natural direction for her. So I think we're going to try to do that at some point.
Yeah,
Cool.
nice. Yeah, start them early.
Yeah.
Yeah, we neglected to teach our kids, like basically a lot of people have to force their kids to pick an instrument. And I don't know if we were just too busy or what, you know, or just running on fumes, especially after our youngest was born. It's like hard to really force the issue on a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of time and energy.
Yeah, and when I don't get enough sleep, I just like lose all motivation for anything. So,
Fair.
yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to create energy when you don't have any.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
since we're on that, like, how do you get blah, blah, now I can't talk, gather the energy, as a parent of kids, just because this panel is a parent panel, we all have kids. How the heck do you squeeze time? Because I feel, creating music, especially you need to have the right, I don't know, sound room or something like that. I don't know
Right.
too much,
Yeah.
forgive me. How do you manage to squeeze in the time for that other than I have to make time, of course?
Yeah. So I have a unique situation, and I will admit that I've been incredibly lucky to be able to just transition into doing what I am doing. But so before 2020, I was um, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 2012, 2013. I decided I was going to focus on photography because I was kind of frustrated with music, and because every time I'd like pick up the guitar or whatever, it would just come out with the same sounds and stuff. I was just like kind of frustrated. So I decided I would sell my stuff and focus on photography because I was just starting, to learn stuff about photography. Around 2013, actually, I think is when I officially got a business license for photography. But then I did that for like 10 years. And 2019, end of 2019, I started like deciding like, hey, maybe I could get, just get back into music a little bit. And I already had a nice computer for editing photos and videos. So I got a keyboard for $50 on Facebook Marketplace. Oh, it's just a MIDI controller keyboard, so like it doesn't have any sounds built in. And I downloaded a bunch of free sounds, virtual instruments, synths, that kind of stuff. What I thought I was going to do, I thought I was just going to make some electronic music or something just for fun. But then my nature took over, and I found like these free string libraries, and that's what they call like a virtual instruments, like string libraries, like with each note of strings mapped to a key, so you're actually playing it.
Yep.
And some percussion, some horns, some all the things. They weren't all very good. Some of them were pretty good, so I still use some of those. But if you listen to my first Grudo Valley and then you listen to my more recent Grudo Valley, you can hear the difference there. But so what I mean of my nature taking over is like I've always been inspired, and I just love like orchestral stuff. Whether that be in movies, actually mostly in movies. But then when video games started getting better and better, like I started noticing that more and more as well. And then there a long time ago, before video game music really took off, I feel there was what was it called? Hyrule Symphony or something like that. I can't remember what it was called.
The
Uh,
Symphony of the Goddess?
no, it was way before that.
Oh, it was
Um,
before that. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was mostly like Ocarina of Time music, but it was one like most
Ooh.
people haven't heard of. But I think I probably pirated it. because that's what I did at the time. I didn't really buy much music because I didn't really have money for it. But it was a long, long time ago. Probably before I even took a break from music to do photography. It was probably like a long, long time ago. Probably between 2003 and 2007. I'm just guessing, but it was probably in there when I downloaded it. And it was super good, like really good orchestral music. And between that and just hearing people like Lindsey Sterling, that's probably what inspired me to do my first cover. And all the other people, like a guy named Freddie Greddy from Sweden, I think. He's probably yelling at me if he heard me say he's from the wrong Scandinavian country, but um, he did one called Wind Waker Unplugged that was stellar. When he was like 15 or something, is unbelievable. But see, here I am on a rabbit trail again. I forgot where I was going.
No, I love it. I love it.
Is that just like what led me to?
I think, yeah, that kind of was what led you to your current career, but it's fine because now that you brought Zelda back into it, I was going to kind of lead into that, but keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So how did it lead into me actually doing it and finding the time to do it? So I was already starting to do it in like January and February before lockdown. But then, those are actually some of my slowest months in photography as well. But then in March, lockdown happened, and a lot of the companies and individuals that normally would hit me up for photos, like I haven't heard from since, really. So during lockdown, I think I only got like one job. But also unemployment didn't give me any money either. So I was lucky that my wife had a job, and my parents because my wife was working from home, just to give her some space. Sometimes I'd stay with my parents, and when I was with my parents like would take the kids to the park or whatever. I would sit down and try to record some, and that's how. I mean, that was most of album one. Actually, was just sitting in my parents' house and a recording there. But and I think my son was about 3 at the time, my youngest. The other two are getting more independent at that time, so that wasn't hard. But if I wasn't at my parents' house, I was taking care of him basically. Um, but when we were spending more time at our house, like he would actually sit down with me and tolerate me not, entertaining him, but also sometimes he felt like he was helping, I think, or that, and he was enjoying it, just the process of music. But there's actually if anybody's curious, they could probably go to my Instagram and find the photo of him dressed up as Captain America sitting next to me while I'm making music. And that was probably Song of Storms on that picture. But anyway, it's a cute picture. So as lockdown, is ending, and but I'm still responsible for taking care of him. So trying to do a photography job here and there for money, but like as time is moving on, like it's becoming obvious that, like, yes, if I put more time into this, like I can build it into an income. So I was, I don't know if at that time I had to talk my wife into just like seeing it through, but let me see. I think it was last year. I was making enough that I was able to afford to sublet this office from my friend who's a photographer. He needed a new office, so outside of the door to that side is his little meeting room where he meets clients, and some amazing photos on the wall. But I mean, that's how I got to know him, was through photography, because I worked with him for like 10 years or so. So yeah, so just that proving that I could have a flow of income kind of led me to be able to do this during the day while my kids are at school. And I have other projects that I'm going to work on to try to increase that as well. But like I've proven, I
There's
guess,
a formula.
yeah. If I just follow that formula, like I don't need to go get another job at this point. So
That's incredible. It's very inspiring because it's there's a lot of ingredients in there. You got to
oh
mix in a
yeah.
little bit of not a little bit, a lot of hard work, but
Mm-hmm.
also a little bit of faith. And like you said, certain situations where you are able to make time for and focus on it while also maintaining a work-life balance with family. So look at that,
Yeah.
Corey. Someday maybe we could do that.
I know.
Yeah,
Taking
it's
notes.
really hard and pretty rare
Yeah.
that somebody can do this, but like some of the ingredients were me just being lucky and having a wife with a good job and generous parents, so in that way it's that privilege that got me here, but it was also my hard work in between times. So all the things that came together, I happen to have a style that people want to listen to on sleep playlists, which gives me more streams than like somebody who's just making epic music. Like there's all these different factors. Like
Mm,
I just happen to like to make that music, you know, like I wasn't like looking for the most profitable genre or subgenre or whatever. It's just, that's just what I like to make. So, um, so yeah, a really complex recipe there. um, but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely some luck.
there's been a couple nights where I've fallen asleep and nobody's listening to your music because I'm sleeping, but you're welcome. uh,
Thank you.
it's so relaxing though. Like
Yeah.
mhm.
I don't know.
No, yeah, I mean, I could definitely, I mean, I would take some of my songs out of there for sure. If they're a little too upbeat or get a little too high in volume. But yeah, I think, yeah, actually, you know what? My wife used to put on this orchestral CD. I think it was Vaughan Williams or something like that. And there was another one, like maybe Philip Aubrey, except he had this song in there that was like, dun, dun, dun. And I was like, can we please not listen to
Skip
that?
that one. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I think a lot of people like listen to that type of music, whether it's piano or just relaxing music in general.
Mhm.
Maybe some soundtracks, movie soundtracks and stuff like that.
Well,
Yeah.
pairing your style, what drew you to pick Zelda as the franchise to go to?
Well, it's always been there, in the back of my
Mm,
mind, especially after I found that one album. But I've been conscious of Zelda and Zelda music for like most of
mhm,
my life. So, and it's some of the music that really sticks with you. I think for most people, I think it's
mm,
just so well written. I mean, even Koji Kondo, like programming, like only being able to use a certain number of notes on, I think it was Ocarina of Time, like and doing what he did with it, like it's just so good. Like, I mean, can you ever, if I say Gerudo Valley again, you can
mm.
conjure that in your head just immediately. It's just so catchy. Like, even if I hadn't heard it in 10 years, I could still, like, it would probably still pop in my head and I'd just be humming it without
Yeah.
thinking about it. It's just super catchy. Um, but, just maybe when I don't remember how old I was, but there, I never had an NES, but I obviously always wanted one. I mean, who wouldn't want one of those? But I think it was when I was like about to turn 6. No, I think I was had just turned 6. Um, my dad worked for the Corps of Engineers, and we spent some time in Japan. Um,
Ooh.
and on the way back from Japan when I was 6, and I didn't learn any Japanese, so sorry. But everybody always asks, because we lived on base, so everybody spoke
Mhm.
English pretty much. But on the way back, we stopped in Hawaii, where one of like a guy my dad worked with, I guess, a family that we had made friends with. We stopped there to visit them before we headed back to the U.S. And he had an NES with like all the games. Like Contra was, I was like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad, and Mario and Zelda. He had all the greatest games. And I was just in awe. Like the most I'd played video games was in a like an arcade. But after that, a girl that I had a crush on for like years, like we went to her house for dinner, and they had an NES too, and they had some of the same games, and it was just a refresher on how amazing the system was. So, I think that is part of what drew me back, like, to it. I mean, the original, at least. Like, I didn't see Zelda 2 until many, many years later, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, you're missing out.
Yeah. No.
I mean, some people love that game, so I'm really sorry if that offends anyone. But like, I was
Those
like, "Why
people
is
are
he
wrong.
holding the sword like that?" And I was like, I don't think I even knew it was Zelda, honestly. But then Ocarina of Time came out, and that's another story. But I don't think my parents let us have a console at that time either, but whatever. I guess at that point I probably could have gotten one, but that's besides the point. There was
Yeah.
a bunch of consoles, but
Yeah.
and I think here's luck again. This is negative luck this time, but I got really into PC gaming, so I kind of ignored like Zelda and a bunch of other things for a while, until later. But then I got into Halo about the same time as my roommate was playing Wind Waker just nonstop. So I think that reignited it a little bit, and that music is, oh my gosh, like that didn't leave my head for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I got back into it again, like just, I don't know, by watching my wife do it, and then I played a little bit of Wind Waker. Never finished it, but I'm going to blame kids on that one too. I have a bunch of unfinished Zelda games, and I think that's most of it. It's like, especially after you get two kids, it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Man, every time I hear Wind Waker, I just hear the like
such a good theme.
Love it.
Yes.
I love it. Oh,
if I ever write something that good, I think I'll be fulfilled.
Oh, it's so good. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are the only two reasons why my Wii U is still hooked up over here.
Still waiting for those ports.
Yeah, that's what I played. That's what I beat Breath of the Wild on, was the Wii U. We didn't get a Switch. We always wait and like end up getting the system way after it comes out. So when we got a Switch, I bought Tears of the Kingdom the moment it came out. And that's what we've got most of our games on now. Some of our I think the youngest, Lincoln, plays Minecraft on the Wii U a lot, even though we have the newer version on Switch. Yeah.
Hey, that Wii U's getting a lot of mileage. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated system. Some people badmouth it, but I really like it.
Look, the Corey's face just lit up. Look at it. Look at
it. Look, we had a thing where Ed and I were ranking the Nintendo systems, and we kind of left the Switch out of this for a while because, I mean, clearly the Switch, I think, may top everything at this point, but the Wii U was at the top of my list. It has the three best Zelda games in my opinion on it. It has the best 3D Mario game in my opinion. It has it has Pikmin 3, which is fine. I still think 1's the best, but we went through the whole list of games, and I'm like, the Wii U. I understand people think this Fisher-Price tablet is trash, but I don't care. It's about the games.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the library. something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the games that my kids played a heck of a lot on the Wii U is Pikmin 3, actually.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we well, I didn't buy Wind Waker HD for my wife on that. I just told my parents that would be a good gift to get her. So we got Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. Yeah, and I think it's the Twilight Princess. Is it called HD?
HD. Yep.
Yeah, we got that, and then Breath of the Wild. And then, it kind of did what the Switch has going on now. That Switch does much better with all the ports, but that's what Lincoln played, Minish Cap, and a bunch of other Spirit Tracks. Although the screen does something weird when you do those ones, so you don't get the full screen. But it's still a great system. I feel like it was actually more not stable, robust. I think robust is a good word for it. I mean, as far as like walking away from the main machine, no. I mean, it disconnects when you're not very far away, but like I never had any Joy-Con problems. I can't remember what other things I compared. There's something else on the Switch I had problems with. I think it was the wireless communication of the Joy-Cons.
Oh.
Like I'll be playing Mario Kart or something with the smaller Joy-Cons, like online, for example, where it matters that you don't have a disconnect, and it, like they would just randomly disconnect, or like have the Joy-Con drift, or like they'll do this weird thing where it's like pulling me to like one side just randomly. I'm like, this is not that's not good. Like it's not as bad if you're playing Breath of the Wild and you need to pause it for a second to, whatever, or
Readjust,
any offline game, doesn't matter. But when you're playing online, it's it's really bad. But so yeah, I had some gripes with that. But once I bought the Pro controller, like I didn't have any issues.
Yeah, it's that was a known issue for a while at the beginning, at least of the lifespan, where if there was any kind of like reflective surface, and there's actually like a whole video. I don't know if it's still up on their YouTube channel or not, but like they said, don't put it near a fish tank for some reason, because it caused disconnects. And yeah, it was this whole thing for a while. It was crazy. I was like, man, why would you ever like? I know the Pro controller is expensive and everything, and some people just maybe wanted to play Zelda and that's it. And it comes with the that dockable dog controller that people used to make little dog faces out of. But I don't know how people play that thing regularly without a Pro controller unless they're playing in handheld.
Yep.
So.
Well, I do have another question for you
Sure.
before we kind of start wrapping it up. But have you gotten requests to cover other video game franchises?
Yeah. And I
just got one.
That's true.
Other than that,
yeah. What was it? What's it called? Octopath Traveler. But then I listened to the soundtrack of the specific game that they're talking about. It's like, man, this is already orchestrated and super good. Like, what am I going to do with this? It's already, like, I mean, I could do minimalist since it's already orchestrated, or I could, I don't know. I feel like I'd have to get really creative to try to do that. But let me see. I mean, my oldest son is always telling me I should cover something. It's probably why I ended up doing. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys are even aware of my non-Zelda VGM album I put out. but I did a couple songs from Undertale, a couple songs from Deltarune. My son's really into both of those.
Mm.
Anything Toby Fox, but he was also the one that was really crazy about Portal 2. So I did Reconstructing Science from Portal 2. I think that might have been the first one I used my electric guitar on. But
Nice.
it doesn't get the attention it deserves. So if you guys go listen to Reconstructing Science, I'd be very happy. But I also played Stardew Valley, so I decided to do Overture and Grandpa's Theme, something like that. Anyway, I can't. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, my son's always recommending I do something. I just have to keep them all written down to remember them all because there's so many. But I can't remember what other people have besides my son has recommended. Besides that one guy, 2 or 3 years ago that told me to do Octopath Traveler.
Nice.
Actually, you know what? I wonder if that's. I was doing I'm taking part in a compilation album with Lucas Cooper, who is a great pianist who does video game music, a lot of Zelda music. You can check out his music as well. We we don't collaborate and put out songs together necessarily. I mean, we plan on it at some point, but we like put each other's music on each other's playlists, basically. So we're collaborating in some ways that aren't like just putting out music. But he is putting out an album. Let me double check. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Octopath Traveler.
While you're double checking that, I really like your piano rendition of the Metroid theme song.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's another one I put on there. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that one.
Yeah, it's very eerily peaceful, I guess.
Well, we're gonna have
Yeah.
to check out what kind of music they're gonna make for Metroid Prime 4 next year. So,
Yeah,
dot dot dot.
probably a lot of synth with
Probably, yeah.
heavy
Mhm.
heavy drum somewhere in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I looked it up. So it's gonna be an Octopath Traveler compilation album where each song is done by a different artist, and it's piano only, so it's solo piano album. But in doing the song that I was doing, I made it overcomplicated and put in some elements that you probably can't play if you're doing solo piano. But um, for the most part, you should be able to cross over your hands to do the whole thing. But I made it pretty complicated, I think. But anyway, watch out for that too. So I did end up doing one from Octopath Traveler. I just forgot about it because
Oh,
I don't know when he's gonna. I think it's gonna come out in July.
well, that's coming up fast, as you know. The
Yeah,
date of
yeah.
recording is June 24th, 2024, folks. And Aaron, you provided the fantastic transition to kind of my last question was what is in the pipeline, and I also saw that you either had or currently working on the fantasy that you're writing with your daughter. I don't know if
Oh
like if
yeah.
that's a completely separate project, but just yeah, tell us what we can look forward to in addition to what you've just talked about.
Oh goodness. Maybe I'll bring this piece of paper over to make sure I have everything covered. But yeah, I've been working. Thanks for mentioning that. That fantasy project. So, I mean, that's one thing. It's been going on for years now. But things happen, and you
Hmm.
get busy, and I feel insufficient as like an actual writer. Like I'm not a writer, but like I've done some writing like on some websites, and I'm okay, but that's completely different than writing dialogue and stuff like that. Like dialogue's hard, and I'm not very good at it. So um, I think that's another reason I put it off. But so okay, so I didn't tell everybody what the project is, but The reason it started is because many years ago, I took a picture as part of a photography project for a website I was writing for, and where he dressed up as Link, and I set up some fancy lighting, and then I printed it and we put it on our wall. And then my daughter got to an age where she was like, "Where's my picture?" And I was like, "Well, maybe we shouldn't use copyrighted content." So we made up a character, named Kaolin, Kaolin. It's named after a mineral that they mine in China and make fine china out of. So like you put it through the fire and it becomes this strong, durable thing. Anyway, it's symbolic. It's symbolic. So that I kind of went overboard and started doing some like world building. Like I have several pages of world building and some character sheets and stuff like that. And I have like a plot laid out. But I started writing it and I like threw it away because I was like, man, this isn't very good. I just need to do some research and work on my writing. So in the meantime, we did a photo series. I've only put out 3 of the pictures. 2 of them are halfway done, so there'll be 5. But she's grown so much that the pictures won't match, and the outfit I made isn't going to fit. But if you go to my photography Instagram, which is at Grubb Aaron, you can scroll down and see the 3 pictures I put out for that. So I also, once I started getting into music again, getting more into the orchestral part of it, though, is the important part. I ended up making the Emberwood theme, which sounds like it's like this HBO drama or something, like a fantasy drama kind of show. That's what it sounds like, because it's not like a short theme. It's like a bit longer. So I mean, that's why I say HBO, because I think they have longer themes than a lot of shows. Anyway, that's besides the point. But then I put out The Last Goodbye, which is also an Emberwood song. It's kind of written as kind of another important scene in the I should say the outline of the story, because it's not written. But then I plan to put out more on top of that. I think on my list I have Kaelin's Dream and Kaelin's Fury. So I guess there's two more coming out. So, okay, I took a long time telling you about that one project. I also plan to put out some
quick thing. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say that's awesome. I'm a fantasy writer. Not well known or anything, but like that's just incredibly interesting to me. Just a side note, if you ever want to pick my brain or something, or talk to someone about the creative writing process, please let me know. That's fantastic.
Yes.
All right, sorry.
I will message you at some point for sure. Because I definitely feel like I'm not qualified for that part. So yes. So I mean, writing, I there's a lot of work for me to do to get up to snuff on that. So so I also have some, a list of original songs. I want to put together an original album of cinematic music. So that's 2 projects. I want to put out some Christmas music, because like that's a lot of times when the numbers slump a little bit. So putting out some Christmas music theoretically might help. It'll be a good experiment if nothing else. And Auld Lang Syne, I already started that one. So I mean, that would only be like 1 or 2 days a year, but whatever. I like the song enough that I'm going to do it. I also have this weird side project that I've been working on for a while, but like I haven't had the time to really put a lot of energy towards it, and it doesn't really make any money. I think it's made like $5 or something. But like I started another artist profile called Another Mulligan because when I made that, my kids were super into Pokemon and the Pokemon card game. And I know like a mulligan applies to golf and a bunch of other things as well. But for me, it was specifically for Pokemon because we were playing the Pokemon card game together, and we had like a bunch of mulligans in a row. So I was like, oh, Another Mulligan, that's the band name I'm looking for, because I've been trying to figure out a band name for a long time. Anyway, so I was thinking I was going to write a bunch of original Pokemon fan songs, but so far I've only finished one, and that is I Choose You. So if anybody wants to hear that, or my out of shape singing voice, they can go hear that. But so on Another Mulligan, on that channel, there is a weird variety of I think there's only 4 songs now, but I want to add to that. So that's another project I want to do. There's some serious songs I want to put on there, and then there's just some ridiculous songs. Like my daughter is as weird as I am, so she was walking down the hall saying something weird about like pictures of donuts on her wall or something. I don't know what she was talking about, but I just found myself singing. There's a picture of a donut on my wall, and then I wrote this whole song and recorded all of it except for the vocals now. And so I'm hoping before the year is done that I can put out that song. But I think that's a good song though. Like, as weird as it is, I think it's like not Weird Al, but like They Might Be Giants, or one of those type of bands, or
Yeah. Oh
Cake.
my
Cake.
goodness.
Yeah,
That's
I
going to be
love
my
that band.
most anticipated song for the year.
Oh.
And who knows, we're going to just publicize it, and maybe Dunkin' Donuts will pick it up and feature it in a commercial or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I also have 2 other songs for Another Mulligan that are as weird as that one. There was, I think it was Technoblade, the YouTuber, like with some of his other friends, were doing this weird video. I don't know what they're even talking about. My oldest son told me about it again, but they were like trying to get a baby to do physics or something. I don't even know. So this phrase, "my baby can't do physics," kept going on in my mind, and so I started writing this song. It sounded a little bit like Maestro, like bow 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 now bow bow bow, and I recorded a bunch of that, and it sounds awesome and retro. But like, "my baby can't do physics," like, so it's about like this strong woman character that makes her boyfriend feel like intimidated, and like he's, yeah, because she's good at everything, and he's like, but you can't do physics. Anyway, so that's another goofy song. Then I have one about butter, um that is actually, I'm really enjoying that one as well. Do you mind if I grab something real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to start looking up all those songs tonight because I want to listen to a song about butter.
I know.
Well, I'm actually really glad we got to focus a lot of conversation outside of the primary, well, not primary, but the Legend of Zelda stuff, because we all know that. We want to hear about the picture of the donut on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Which,
so in the donut song, the picture of a donut on my wall, it mentions in a golden frame of innocence. So I went out and I bought a golden frame and took a picture. I know the people that own a bakery, so I had them make me a donut that matched my vision, and then I put it on a blue backdrop and took a picture of it. So there's my album cover for the single when it comes out.
that's perfect. I
That's so
love
cool.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's all original. It's like you took the
Oh
photo.
yeah.
You didn't just
Yeah.
take like a stock image. That's great.
Yeah, that was important to me.
Mhm.
Otherwise I would have, I don't know, paid $150 at least to have somebody make it,
Right.
when I could just buy a donut and throw it on a piece of blue paper.
Exactly.
Anyway, I have other stuff going on too. like I'm now that I've discovered another way to license music, because you remember I told you if it's on a physical medium, I can license it. So in the past, licensing companies have told me, no, you can't license that because it's not on a physical medium. But Affordable Song Licensing told me recently that, oh, we can do a notice of intent letter with the money for the licensing, send it, and if they cash the check, then we can, and they don't say, no, you can't do that, then we can do it. So that's how I licensed Nehru's song, which is coming out in July. I think that's the only one I've done that way. But that, I mean, I was running out of songs that I felt I could do. So I wasn't planning to do an album 5. But now that I know that I can do that, I think I'm going to do an album 5 and maybe even more after that. I don't even know. But so that is on my itinerary as well, just to do more Zelda music.
Yay.
Yeah, so original album, which will include the Emberwood songs, but I plan on doing some Emberwood writing. I don't know if I'm just going to put it out as like blog posts to begin with and see how people like it, and
Get
because
some
I
feedback.
can put the pictures in there too, right? If it's a blog post, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I can like put in some Spotify, embed some Spotify players for the song that like works with that scene or whatever.
It's almost like an interactive read.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes, that was the vision I had for it a while back. It's like, what can I do with all this content? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm planning to do some random like pop covers as well. So, yeah.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah. I do have some other writing projects too, but I don't know. There's a children's book I want to finish, and yeah, maybe I can't remember what the other. Maybe I just cut the other project to focus on these. I don't know. I have this huge list of things for myself to do, and I've cut a lot of them. So you can tell like that I have more ideas than I know what to do with. So
that's the creative mind. Sometimes I see that in Corey too when he's thinking of all these ideas.
Yeah, and you're like, no, you're doing too much already. I'm like, oh, but
when you're a parent, also, it's just like, I don't have time for any of this. But luckily, I can do this during the day when they're in school, and actually get some of it done. But I feel like the people want more Zelda, so I'm like, I should dedicate a good amount of time to that, but not all of it. But I think that's where this year might be different. Like the other 4 years, I have like dedicated mostly to Zelda. So I think this year, I'm gonna try to keep up on the Zelda, maybe do a bunch at a time and then schedule it out. And then while that is releasing, like dedicate a month to Emberwood or a month to another music project, or my maybe project by project, instead of like I have here. I have it like, oh, Monday is Christmas music or whatever, to try to get that done, because I keep on saying I'm going to do it and I never end up doing it in time. So then Tuesday's original, Wednesday's VGM, Thursday is writing, which I never ended up doing this year. I never ended up actually dedicating a day to writing, because I was like, oh, I got to finish this thing. So, or I feel uninspired or whatever, which you have to push through to some extent. But yeah.
Any musician, artist, content creator, we've all hit walls or writer's block. I know I have. So, wow, there's so much for us to look forward to.
I know.
So thank you for sharing that with us.
I could talk to you for another 3 hours, but
yeah,
let's do it. Just kidding. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4.
There you go.
We could.
We'd love to have you back.
Yeah, I mean, you can come back anytime you want. We can do this. Aaron, we really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, like we said, you are welcome back anytime, even if you just want to come on and not be interviewed and just be a regular person instead of the celebrity on the show. So if people want to find your music and your other things that you're working on, where should they go?
Well, AaronGrubb.com is a good place to start, because if they click on, the link should be in the show notes, but if they're just going by memory, just AaronGrubb.com, and then click on links or whatever, or my links, however I have it labeled there, and then that will be like all the popular ways to listen to my music, between Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, Apple, Tidal, and some other ones. And then some links to some podcasts, which I'll be putting a link to this podcast in my podcast section at the top.
Yes. We made it.
We made it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I can't remember what I have here. I think I have some other things like the Emberwood Project and like t-shirts and things like that in there. But that, even if you just typed Aaron Grubb into Google, I have most of the positions on the first page, just because my music's in all of those different places, so they pop up first. Yeah. And if you type my name into any of the places where you listen to music, that would come up there too.
Right.
It does.
Excellent.
I tested it out on 3 platforms just now, so it does.
Yeah, as a reminder to everyone that, Volume 4 of the Legend of Zelda collection did release a couple months ago, so give that a listen, or any of the previous albums. And if you like the style, I highly recommend, and including to myself, which I will be doing once this podcast ends, some of Aaron's original music. So,
yeah. Thank you. And then if you want to put all my music into a playlist and fall asleep to it for 10 hours, that's good too.
Yeah, I did.
I would prefer that over white noise, because that's what my partner uses, and it's like, I'm like, can I just have some nice relaxing music instead?
I think I would do a mix of the two, like because sometimes we used to listen to piano music when we were falling asleep, but like sometimes those high notes, like that's all I'll hear and it'll like wake me up. So like if you mix the white noise together with the piano, I think it would buffer that a little bit and maybe make it a little softer. So I don't know. I mix them together, see how that goes.
Yeah.
Mix them together.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, thanks again for taking the time to join us on this episode. This was awesome. Again, we'll have to have you back sooner than later, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully do this more than once every couple of years. Everybody out there, thank you so much for watching and or listening to this episode of the Boss Rush Spotlight podcast. You can check it out on your podcast service of choice, or on YouTube, or on bossrush.net. David Lasby actually wrote a pretty great article about you and the Zelda Dungeon charity recently. So
yeah, thank you, David.
Yeah, so there'll be a link to that as well in the show notes. But yeah, Stephanie, thank you for your time and obviously setting this up. You're great too.
High five.
High five.
High five. I did.
Come on, Corey. Jeez.
My hands were in my pocket because my basement is so cold. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BossRushNetwork. If you want to support us, you can head on over to Patreon and get perks for as little as $1. We also have a free tier, so you can also subscribe to that if you want all your podcasts on one feed. And I think that's it. Thank you everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time.
Thanks everybody.
We love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.